guys, welcome back to my channel. Rewind that. It's your girl Miss K. So today we're going to be going over the latest episode of The Oval called The Fishbowl. Sorry for my lateness. It's been a busy week, but let's get into it. Okay, so first we have Richard. He's still in the streets and he's looking for Barry. And so he confronts one of the guys that actually took Gayle last week. So we see, that it's the same type of incident when he was confronting one of Picky's guys and was like, get out of here, old man, same old dance. And so, but this time he heard Gayle in the back. And he's like, hey, get out of there. He's calling Richard, he's calling to the back, the guys, he hears stuff going on. And so the dude is telling him, get out of here, you want to die, old man, all this stuff. So long story short, we already know what happened. Richard then went and bust the guy up, then went back there and bust up all of the, the whole gang that was doing what they were doing to Gayle. And he didn't even know who Gayle was. He just knew that it was a young lady that needed saving. So he took her, carried her away, and he, what happened? So he brought her to his truck. And then when he looks at her face, he realizes who she is and was like, uh-oh. Another thing is, people were probably wondering, like, how the heck does this butler know how to fight all these guys and all these defenses, this and that? But remember that Nancy, I think last week she revealed that she kind of had an affair on Richard while he was away in the army or the military or something like that. So maybe it's some type of training that he was putting to use when he was kicking them guys behind. So anyway, next we got Lily. She's confronting Bobby because he's in her house somehow. And when she asked him how he got in the house, all he said, he didn't say how. Not to my recollection. I don't remember him saying. But he did say that he used to be one of the guys that's watching her house. And she said, you Secret Service? And he said no, that he was a ranger or something like that. But he starts telling her that she pissed somebody off and that's why he was hired. And of course she's confused and she want to ask Bobby, well, that means that everything that you said in the bathroom, the airport, all that stuff, was that not even real? He's like, I was just doing my job and everything, But then she starts asking him more questions about what the job entails. And I'm just like, why are you asking all these questions? Because did you not know that when you married your husband, that all of that Secret Service stuff, it says secret for a reason, because there's some things that you're not going to be privy to, and that's the same stuff that her husband keep on telling her. So I'm just kind of confused, and I'm a little annoyed at this whole back and forth of the questioning that she keeps on doing. It's kind of like, could y'all give her something else to talk about, please? Can y'all give her a different storyline? Like, I know that this has to be completed and this and that and the third, but her saying the same stuff, I feel like her as an actress, her job is pretty easy right now because she just keep on doing the same thing over and over, asking the same old tired questions that she's not getting any answers to. My thing is, remember that the guy said he released off his stuff, his seed in her. When we gonna get to the part where she's possibly pregnant? Can we move on? Thank you. Then next we got, Richard, and he has Gayle. And hopefully that means he's going to bring her back to the White House. That was my thought. Obviously, we know that later on he does try to bring her back to the White House, but Sam steps in, and we'll talk about that when the time comes. So and next we're at the White House, and of course they're still trying to find Gayle. And there was this weird exchange between Jason and Hunter. Of course we got the whole tired old exchanges between Victoria and Hunter. So she said something about regrets, and he said there's a lot of things that he regrets or something like that. It was geared toward her, right? And so she asked that, well, was that about me? And so then Jason says, no, it's about me, Mom. He was looking right at me. I know you regret all of us, this and that and the third, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, last week you was just talking about your mom. And it seems as if you were confiding in your dad about how much your mom hates you guys and all this other stuff. And now you turning that energy on your dad. I was just confused. I didn't understand it. But those kids are just messed up, period. So next we got Richard, and he's asking Gayle what she's doing out there, and she's like, none of your business. She's still rude to one thing I could say, the girl stays true to who she is. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if the guy just saved her life or just helped her, whatever. It does not matter. She will be rude because that is who she is. She is true to herself, but it's just also not just that she's rude. She really, to me, it just shows like a real sense of entitlement. Anyway, that was that. But she tells him that she can take care of herself. And he said, it doesn't look like it. And she said, oh, those guys weren't about to do anything that my uncle hasn't done before. So we got a new revelation, getting to know a little more about Gayle and who she is. And I have a feeling that Gayle might turn out to be likable, because we're starting to peel back some layers a little bit, you know, behind all the hurt, you know, and the anger and all the stuff that she's going through. We're starting to see something. So we'll see. We'll see. So my thing was, when she said they weren't going to do anything that my uncle hasn't done before, I was wondering whose brother, you know what I'm saying? Or what kind of uncle, you know what I mean? Was it Victoria's brother or Hunter's brother? You know, just wanted to know. But because that might come up, you know. So anyway, Richard calls Sam and he lets him know, hey, I got her. I'm about to bring her back to the White House. And Sam is like, no, don't do that. And Richard's like, why? And he said, because he said, I'm going to come to you, and I got the location on your phone already or whatever. And I just don't want her making up any type of, no more stories, basically. And then Richard was like, oh, wow, I didn't even think about that. You know, the crazy thing is I did, and that was my main concern. Like, oh gosh, if he brings her back to the White House, what story is she going to tell? You know what I'm saying? It's just not safe. You just never know. Because she could just take that whole rape situation, spin it back, and oh man, so whatever. But next we got Barry, and he finally gets home, and he has this terrible attitude as usual. But, you know, when you think about it, he has this animosity towards his mom because he feels like she's the one who allowed his child to be taken. So in some ways, the anger is understandable, but, you know, he's just really taking it out on everybody. But I was thinking about this before they even had their little moment toward the end, which I will talk about when we get to that. But anyway, he sees Sharon and he's like, I don't want her here. I don't want her here, you know, going on and on and on. And Sharon was like, okay, I'll just pack my bags. And Nancy said, no, you're staying right here. She has nowhere to go. So Barry is like, oh, you could stay with old boy, right? This and that. Starting to say, oh, what else are y'all selling? How much is he paying you? You know, what else are y'all selling out of the store? How much is he paying you? And she's like, what? What are you talking about? So the way she was seeming confused by the questions, it seems like she doesn't know what he's talking about seriously, like genuinely. So I'm wondering if Picky's story was true, or was it just some type of rumor that he was sharing with his cousin as if it was true? Like, because that's not right, because that's his woman, and you shouldn't, if you don't know facts, you should not be sharing that type of information. Anyway, so Barry was like, if she doesn't leave, I'm gonna leave. And I was just like, bye, because your attitude is horrible, so bye-bye. Anyway, so he goes to his room, but then he sees the chick, one of the Rackadoochie chick, and he basically spazzes on that situation. Of course, I ain't mad at that, because these are the people that took your daughter, so of course he gonna be mad about that. But then he said something to his mom, like, you know, I forgot. He said something like, you always bringing somebody in. That's your problem, Ma, all of this stuff. So she smacked the taste out of his mouth. At the time, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of satisfied that she smacked him. Kind of been a little bit overdue. And maybe that's the reason why he kind of came back to his senses a little bit upstairs. I don't know. Whatever. We'll get back to that. She had to smack the taste out of his mouth. Anyway, so a star moment in this episode for me, was when Richard and Gayle had a heart-to-heart. Okay, and this is what I was talking about when, you know, a little prematurely, when I was talking about the layers are being pulled back from this little girl. And when he was talking to her, you know, he was giving her this whole speech about, you know, him working there for 20 years and just helping kids like her and stuff like that. And he really loved his job. And he loves working for, you know, the first families and things like that. And he understands what it is for children like her who they live that fishbowl kind of life, you know. And he said you can't even smoke a cigarette without, you know, people all around you, you know, nothing, you can't do anything in private. And so he actually even offered her a cigarette, which I was like, come on, she's a friggin' minor. But whatever, he was just trying to show her that, you know, there are people out there that care for you, and the people that are working for you are working to keep you safe. And he was telling her that, you know, it's hard to live this type of life. It's hard to be special. But once you accept it, it gets easier. And she was saying, but I don't want to be special. I never wanted to be this type of person. I never wanted to live this life. And he said, unfortunately, you know, just because you don't want to doesn't mean that, you know, it doesn't change the circumstances. It doesn't change the reality. You know what I mean? So, you know, it looked like he was really getting through. And I was hoping they would keep that there. But anyway, he was basically telling her that, you know, you can't be telling lies. You know what you did to my son, that really devastated him, because no one's ever said anything like that to him before, about him like that. And then, you know, and then she brought up the Emmett Till thing. She said, like, Emmett Till? And he said, yeah, you know about that? And she was like, yeah, I know he didn't do anything. And he said, you know, you got to tell the truth. You got to tell people what happened. And she's like, I told my mom, but she doesn't care. And she hates me and all this stuff. She hates all of us. She hates my dad. She hates my brother. She hates me and all of this stuff. And he's like, no, she doesn't hate you. She's like, trust me. She hates me. And I forgot, she said something else before that, but she was like, she would kill me. And he said, no. He was like, you know, he's basically saying, like, come on now, no, like, you're over exaggerating. She's like, no, she will. I'm just starting to see that Victoria is really evil. I know that I declared that I kind of liked her in the beginning, but I do see a lot of evil, and I'm not for that. So then the Secret Service pulls up, and Richard tells Gayle, hey, if you ever need to talk, Priscilla has my number, you know, get my number from her. Whatever you tell me, you know, I won't tell a soul. So it looks like he made a new little friend with her, or just not, I wouldn't say friend yet, but just he basically created a safe place for her, because it really doesn't seem like she has a safe place, and that's something that she needs, something that she's possibly looking for. And, you know, she's a young girl. She's a black little girl lost, unfortunately, and she needs somebody, you know. And so I like that, Richard's heart. Like, even though this little girl went and she did what she did to his son, he's seeing past that. He's seeing the bigger picture, the deeper rooted issues. Okay, so anyway, the first thing I think of, like, as they're taking Gayle to one of the cars, the first thing I think of, because you see Victoria in the seat, you know, in the back seat, and then she rolls up the window, and the window is clear as day. And I'm like, why is her window clear? Like, it should be tinted, right? Anyway, that was just my own thing. Next, we have a moment with Barry and Sharon, and she manages to break down his wall of anger. He was saying, like, you know, I feel like I'm in here by myself, like nobody understands what I'm going through. And she was saying, do you don't think I care? Like, I care about her, you know. I want to get her back. We all want to get her back, you know, and we're all here for you, and you're not alone. And she's like, I love you and all this stuff. And then he started to break down, and he said, you know, she just let them take my baby. Because first when she came up, she said, you need to apologize to your mom with her condition and all this stuff. And he's like, I'm not apologizing for nothing, this and that. So as she was breaking them down, trying to get past that anger wall, and then he came out and he started to tear up, and he was saying, you know, she let them take my baby and all that stuff. And he's like, I just want my daughter back. I miss her and all that. And so it was kind of, yeah, it was a little heart-wrenching, very sad moment. But my thoughts were obviously confirmed, you know, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking too. Like, this guy is upset with his mom for this situation. So that's why he's been so lashing out at everybody, because he blames everybody, you know. So they hug and everything, and he says, I'm sorry to her and all that. And then the mom comes in and she hugs on him, and, you know, they kind of like do a little group hug thing. He says, I'm sorry, Mom, and all that stuff. So that was nice, you know, that for them. And I hope that things get better. And it's like, when is Sam going to make the call for them to find the little girl? Like, they're dragging their feet. But I do understand that this is like, you know, kind of like a soap opera thing. So like one day is like 1 week or whatever. You know what I mean? Like one, how do I put this? All right. For them, we could be watching 1 day in their life for freaking 5 weeks. All right. We see them once a week. So we could be watching 1 day for 5 weeks, if you get what I'm trying to say. So they're not going to move as fast as I want them to move, because it's not like that. All right. I think that it was probably maybe between 2 and 3 days since Callie was taken or something like that. And we've been watching it for 9 weeks. So there goes my point. Anyway, so now we got Hunter and Dawn, and they talk about Max's weaknesses, because what happened was Gayle escaped on Max's watch, So Hunter says, "What do you think about Max?" to Dawn. And Dawn says, "I think he could use some work, he could use some White House training or whatever." And so that's when Hunter was like, "Okay, so I want Kyle to be the one to supervise him." And of course, Dawn was like, "No, sir, what made you think of him? I strongly advise against it. He's very overbearing." And then Hunter was like, "I don't care. So you go ahead and you make it happen, but tell Max it was your idea." You see? So he want to go and kind of like, I guess, demote Max, right? But he don't want Max to know that it was his idea or that it was him that's doing it. You see, that's not manly at all. You're hiding behind your decision, so it could look like another man is at fault, or it's another man's doing. That's very cowardly. So now we see that Hunter is not only is he lazy, he's a coward. He don't want to stand by his decision up front, So anyway, now we have Denise, and she's in the Oval with Hunter, and all her crap about not wanting to be with him anymore, not wanting anything to do with him and all that stuff. That went right out the window when he started to do the sweet talk. And then also he gave her some type of like stock numbers or something like that, letters, numbers, whatever they were. And he told her to put all her money on that particular stock or something. It's going to make you very rich. Now that I made you very rich, didn't even make her rich yet. Now that I made you very rich, you're going to pay me back, this and that and third. So they doing their thing or whatever. And outside you could hear everything that's going on. Now I thought that this was supposed to be a soundproof office. I thought that, if he called for someone, they weren't supposed to hear and all this. So that part confused me a little bit, because he's hearing, Max is outside of the office, the Oval, and he hears all the moaning and this and that. And then Don comes up and he tells him that, he's going to be now supervised by Kyle. And he let it be known that the decision was already made, because Max was trying to say, "Sir, if I may." He said, "Nope, don't even bother. The decision has been made already. Like, nobody got time for all your little whatever you're going to say." So then, of course, Don, he could hear all the stuff going on too in there, all the shenanigans. So Max says to him, "Sir, what about this? Nights like this?" And then Don says, "All right, I'm going to talk to the president and see if this is what he really wants." And so he kind of slipped up when he said that, because then Max was like, "Oh, wait, so it was the president that suggested this." And then Don was like, "Oh, no, this is my decision," or something like that, right? So he had to catch himself, but Max ain't stupid. So he realized that it was the president's doing, but the president is a moron. So clearly he didn't think about the repercussions of his decision. You want a supervisor on top and overseeing Max, but Max is the one that does everything for him, whatever he says to do. And so what are you going to do now when you have someone like Kyle who may not go for all of that, right? So I don't think Hunter really thought about all this stuff. But anyway, lastly, we have Victoria, and she's in the car with all her evilness, right? Because instead of being thankful that her daughter is safe, she's grilling her. Like, "Where were you?" and all this stuff. And her daughter is like, "Leave me alone." Of course, being rude. "Leave me alone," and everything. And she says, "You will never see that boy again." right? I can assure you. This is what Victoria says. And so Gayle's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean by that? You know what I mean. I think that's what she said. If not, I just added a little extra drama for you guys. So Gayle tries to, she threatens to jump out the window. And Victoria's like, go ahead and jump. Like, I don't care, jump. And then she tells the people to speed up the car. But first, before that, because Gayle didn't want to answer her questions, Victoria says to Yuma, can I have your taser? What? You trying to tase her again? So Yuma's like, no, ma'am, we don't have the taser on us. So then she asks the guy. Victoria asks the guy up there, and he says, no, ma'am, I don't have it. So she said, okay, then your gun will do. Like, what are you trying to do with the gun? This lady is just, nah. So then the gun situation, yeah, what are you trying to do with the gun? So they said, ma'am, we cannot do that. And she said, why not? She said, for your own safety. Yuma's telling her, for your own safety, ma'am, we can't do that. So then Victoria looks at Gayle and she says, you're lucky that they're here. And I'm like, geez, this woman is really, really evil. Like, it's crazy. So that's when Gayle was saying, I'll jump and all that. And she was like, go ahead and jump. Make my day, this and that. So basically, she goes ahead and calls her mother's bluff and jumps right the heck out the vehicle. Which was moving mad slow, by the way. But still, it's still a moving vehicle. Okay. That was that. But that was pretty messed up. So my final comment on Victoria is that I think I'm done with her. Because her evilness is just... I've had it up to here with it. This woman has no love for her children. Like, she really doesn't. Now, I thought that she wanted her daughter back because there was, she's mean to them, but she's concerned. But she was not concerned. I mean, I'm really like, I'm just sold that this woman is just a little demon. And she really, I don't even understand what her whole purpose of marrying this man. And like, she just seemed like she was just, her whole thing is she wants to be the first lady one day. Not the first lady. I keep saying the first lady. She wants to be the first female president one day. And so she used this guy to get there and do all that stuff. But with all her evilness and in America saying that they don't like her, I don't see how that's going to happen. So, in the meantime, while the parents are fighting, going upside each other's heads, and they're reaching for power and everything, the kids are suffering. And now we found out tonight that one was even being sexually assaulted or whatever by one of their uncles. So, but that's it, guys. That was my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for stopping by again. If you have not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Also hit that notification bell so you know the next time I upload a video or each time I upload a video. And if I do not see you guys before Christmas, have a Merry, Merry Christmas. All right, you guys take care and be blessed. Bye-bye.